Hello, everyone. We're happy to see you. We're happy to have people that are joining us on Zoom. And we're happy that the snow came Thursday and not today. If it does, while we're thinking about it, if it does snow on days that we're supposed to meet, channel 1011 will have our information so we can check with them. Do you have any new people to pay? Yeah. All right. And she is
Denise Stronger.
Denise, thank you. We're happy to have you here. We're happy everyone was able to make it today. We're going to go right into our program. We have Brian.
Christensen.
You know, I was looking at that last night and I was going, does he say Christensen?
Or Chris Janssen.
Christy Janssen? Say it again.
I'm Christensen, but I have been corrected by people from the old country before that it's Chris Janssen. So I answer to either. So
I'll just call you Brian.
there we go.
Anyway, he's from AbbVie.
Yes.
And he's going to talk about a subcutaneous witchamadoogie that they have. Now you know why he needs to come. Because I wouldn't know what the witchamadoogie actually does. I've actually been looking forward to hearing about this. I have some friends in the Omaha area, and I don't know if Brian presented at Heartland, but they raved about this presentation and about the new options that we have. So I am just going to turn the time over to him and let him take control.
That's
I don't like to do that too much, let people take control.
I won't keep it for very long, I promise. So, and yes, that was me that presented at Heartland. So I've set the bar high for myself. So I've got nowhere to go but down. Whoa.
That one's off, so I don't know.
We'll switch to the handheld. Is that what you talked about, Victor?
Well, I was afraid that was maybe do that noise.
How's this? How's this? We good? All right. So you want me to go ahead and share my screen?
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and get that going up for the people. You let me know when we're good to go.
Okay.
You're good?
Yes.
All right. So thank you for that choice. Again, my name is Brian Christensen. I work for a pharmaceutical company called AbbVie. The company is headquartered out of Chicago. It's a global company. I live in Millard, Omaha, so I just buzzed right down the interstate. We are a pretty specialized company. We have divisions that work in oncology, dermatology, but I specifically work in neurology, and in particular, I work specifically within the Parkinson's division. I've been with AbbVie for almost 16 years. I've been in the Parkinson's division for coming up on 4 years. It was a place I really wanted to be a part of. My mom lived with Parkinson's for about 20 years. So I'm very familiar for what it can do, as what the impact this disease has on people. And while I didn't live with it, I certainly know what it's like to love someone that has lived with it and what it did to her and what it did to our family. So anything I can do to try and be even a small part of helping make people's lives a little bit better, that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what we try to do at AbbVie. So as Joyce said, we're going to talk about a therapy that we have. It's called Vyalev. Okay, it is a levodopa therapy. So you're probably all familiar with levodopa, but we'll talk about what it's different about it. Okay, because it is, as opposed to a pill, it's a subcutaneous pump. So think of it somewhat similar to like an insulin pump that somebody might use if they were diabetic. Okay, it's that kind of technology a little bit. Okay, no surgery or anything like that. I'll tell you all about it. And as I go through, please feel free. You don't have to wait till the end. If you have a question, throw your hand up and just, or shout it out, ask the questions as we go along. I love to keep it a little bit more interactive as much as possible. Okay, how are we doing on volume online? Good?
Here.
Are you in here? Are we good? Yeah, perfect. So let's go ahead, maybe. There we go. All right. So a couple of things, a couple of housekeeping items. So first of all, confidentiality. Anything that is discussed here today is confidential. I'm not going to ask any of you about your doctor, about your individual journey. If you choose to share anything, that's fine. I'm not taking notes. I don't report anything back. So whatever is said here stays here, okay? Today's program is educational in nature, okay? I am strictly here to educate you on the therapy that AbbVie has called Vyalev. I am not a doctor, okay? I'm not going to give you medical advice. I'm also not selling you anything. Our therapy is prescription, okay? So if you, your family, your doctor feel like this is a therapy that might be right for you, your doctor prescribes it. You're not signing up for anything. I don't ask your emails. This is not a timeshare meeting. The doors aren't locked. You can leave whenever you want. I won't be offended, I promise. So we're all good, okay? Again, I worked with Joyce to ask to come here. I didn't pay to be here. I'm not being paid to be here or anything like that. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do throughout the course of this conversation is we're going to talk about Parkinson's in general and your levodopa and maybe why over time it feels like it's not working as well and you have to take more and more of it. Okay. Along with maybe more and more other pills, right? We'll talk about Vyalev. What it is, what makes it different, and how it might work for you. There's a video in here, it's about 3.5 minutes long, of a woman who's on Vyalev, and she'll talk about her experiences a little bit. And then we'll talk about next steps that you might be able to do to learn more information or how to have a conversation with your doctor if you feel that's appropriate. Okay? And again, ask questions as we go along. So are your levodopa pills not working as well as they used to? Okay. So you first got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, your doctor prescribed you levodopa, you probably took it 2, maybe 3 times a day, and it worked really well, right? Controlled those little muscle symptoms and those tremors and whatnot, and things were going good. And then over time, and it's different for everybody, you kind of got through that honeymoon phase, and then it didn't seem like they were working as well. So your doctor prescribed you a few more pills more often. Okay, maybe he or she changed the particular levodopa, went from immediate release to sustained release. You know, we talk about names like Cinnament and Rytari. Does that all sound familiar? Okay. And again, it would work for a while and then it wouldn't, right? And what's interesting is every time your doctor maybe changed some medicine, maybe some new things were added on, but there was always levodopa, right? Carbidopa, levodopa was the standard. Okay, so that says, what that tells us is the problem wasn't the medicine. The problem was the delivery of the medicine, or more particular, or more specific, the problem was your gut. Okay. When you take pills, and it doesn't matter what kind of pills are taken, they have to go through your stomach and then into your small intestine to be absorbed into your bloodstream. Okay. The problem with Parkinson's disease is that it impacts your muscles, all of your muscles, including your GI tract, okay? Your GI tract starts to slow down. You know this because you have things, people with Parkinson's live with things like constipation, bloating, you get full and stay full for extended periods of time. That's all an indication that your stomach and your GI tract is slowing down, okay? And what happens is it's called gastroparesis or delayed gastric emptying. Things go into your stomach, they sit there for a long period of time, and then they finally make their way to the small intestine. And it's in the small intestine that the medicine is absorbed into the bloodstream, okay? Well, when your stomach starts to slow down and those pills aren't getting to the small intestine and they get in the bloodstream, now you get the motor fluctuations, right? So we get more medicine in you and it works, and then we get more motor fluctuations, right? Think of it like putting gas in a car with a bad fuel pump. It doesn't matter how much gas you put in the tank. It can be the standard unleaded, it can be ethanol, it can be the premium. You know, gasoline is gasoline. Ultimately, it's not getting where it needs to go to make the engine run, right? Same thing with your medicine. Doesn't matter if it's Cinnamate or Rytari or Crexont, it's all levodopa, but it's not getting where it needs to go. And then sometimes when it does get there, it's competing to be absorbed in your bloodstream with things like food, in particular protein, right? Have to separate your intake of levodopa with your eating, right? Can't always eat what you want when you want. And it starts to become really problematic for people as Parkinson's advances, right? And it's a challenge for the prescribers, for your doctors as well, because they're trying to do the best they can, but it's really hard to just figure out the best way to go about it. And what happens is when the gut really starts to become a problem, is you get this fluctuation between on and off times. Are we familiar with on and off times for the most part? Okay, on, I'm feeling good. I can go about doing the things more or less that I want to do during the day. An off, I can't. I'm frozen, or my movements are really slow, or maybe I'm incredibly dyskinetic and I can't stop moving, right? Those are on and off times. And it looks something like this. What you might be experiencing is on the left, the big roller coaster, okay? And what we're trying to do is keep you more on the side on the right, where you're in that sweet spot, in that blue zone, okay? And it's really easy to do that when you first get diagnosed. But again, that stomach becomes so problematic as we go along that it gets harder and harder to do that. Unless maybe your doctor uses something, like Vylev. Vylev provides continuous complete control. And what I mean by that is it's continuous. It is a 24-hour delivery of medicine. Parkinson's is a 24-hour disease. It doesn't stop when you go to bed at night. That's why sometimes people have a real hard time sleeping at night. Sometimes people with Parkinson's have a very difficult time waking up in the morning and feeling on, okay? Because you go to bed at night and what happens is your medicine stops, but the Parkinson's doesn't. It's a 24-hour disease that really needs 24-hour therapy, okay? So that's the continuous. Complete. Vylev completely eliminates all of your oral levodopa. Okay, all of your Cinnamon, your Rytari, anything like that, the oral carbidopa levodopa goes away because Vylev is carbidopa levodopa. It's just in a different form. It's a liquid that's being administered through your skin into your bloodstream. Okay, and control, get you off that roller coaster and get you much more steady. Try to minimize and reduce your motor fluctuations so you can blank more, as it says on the screen. Okay, whatever that blank is for you, whether it's just go outside and be more active, maybe not on days like today, but like last week when it was 70, right? And be able to go to family events, grandkids, school events, things like that. Okay. Any questions thus far? No? All right. We've all seen the pharmaceutical commercials on TV, and then the voice comes in and talks about, the side effects and all this and that. And they say, don't take this medication if you put shoes on your feet or anything like that, right? So fair and balanced, I have to do the same thing, okay? When it comes to Vylev, there are really two types or two categories of potential side effects. The one are potential side effects that are associated with all forms of levodopa. Levodopa is levodopa is levodopa. Doesn't matter how it's delivered. Potential side effects include urges, wanting to go shopping or gambling or whatever the case might be. Stand up too quick and your blood pressure drops. What are some of the other things? Sometimes hallucinations could be a potential side effect. So any potential side effect you could have with your oral medication is the same with Vylev potentially. The other potential side effect, because this is subcutaneous, it's kind of like a little skin patch, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. There is a potential for skin irritation, skin issues, okay? Redness, swelling, bruising, in some cases, mild infections. We train you, we send a nurse to your home, as well as you work with your medical provider to minimize. There are steps that you can do to try to minimize and mitigate that, okay? But I have to tell you that up front to let you know that those are things that could happen, right? Any questions on that? Anything online? Nope, all right. So Vylev delivers, as I said, continuous 24-hour delivery of levodopa morning, day, and night. You can see for the folks that are online right here, and for the folks here in the room, that little thing right there, we call that a skin patch or a cannula. You place that, this is a self-administered drug. You don't go to the doctor's office once a week or once a month or daily to do this. You do this at home. You click it and stick it, we call it. You just click that onto your skin, usually in your abdomen area. And inside that skin patch, on the other side of it, in your skin, is a tiny little catheter that's 9 millimeters long. that stays in your skin, okay? And that's, the medicine is infused through that little tube there, and it comes from this device that you carry with you, usually on your hip, or sometimes in a bag that you can wear across your shoulders or across your body, excuse me. And the medicine is inside here, inside this pump device, and it infuses through that tube, through here, goes into the skin, into the bloodstream, and then to the brain. And it completely bypasses and eliminates the stomach, okay? That's great for a couple reasons. Number one, remember I said the gut becomes a problem, slows everything down. It's a middleman that's not really necessary anymore. Number two, because if we bypass the gut, there are no more dietary limitations. You can eat what you want, when you want, including protein, and not have to worry about it impacting your Parkinson's medication. Okay. No more living by the alarm clock every 2, 3, 4 hours, whatever the case may be, having to take your carbidopa, levodopa pills. Okay. So what are some of the benefits? Well, like I said, it's going to give you better and more controlled on time than what you get potentially with your pills now, depending on how advanced your Parkinson's may be. Going to provide a continuous 24-hour delivery. I know I've said that a few times. I got to repeat it though, because that's so important. If you have troubles sleeping at night, if your partner knows that you have troubles sleeping at night, right, because of your tremors or whatever, improved sleep is so important for everybody, whether you have Parkinson's or not. Also, because of the 24-hour nature, it will help you wake up in an on state. No more waking up and then waiting an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours for your medicine to kick in, maybe, so you can go about your day, okay? Again, this does not require surgery. There's no tubes or anything like that. You're doing it yourself, just this tiny little self-administered cannula. And again, it replaces all of your levodopa pills. So it's going to significantly reduce your pill burden. If you're on other medications, say things like rasagiline, amantadine, and ticapone, other medications for your Parkinson's, you may be able to have some of those reduced. You may be able to have some of those eliminated. That's going to be a case-by-case scenario. But your Rytary or your Crexont or your Sinemet, that's going away. Okay?
That pump isn't hooked to your body.
You can just carry it on your body, on your hip. Yeah, I know you'll see here in a little bit what that looks like. Yep, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. The question online was, does that pump hook on your body? And the answer was, yeah, you just kind of carry it. You heard my answer. Yes. How many milligrams of carbidopa and levodopa are continuously being delivered? Is that your question? It varies from person to person, okay? We have a special calculator that your doctor would use to determine what your best rate is for you. It is not a one size fits all, okay? And to put it into perspective, 0.1 milliliters, so a very small amount, 0.1 milliliters, is equivalent of almost 2 milligrams of oral levodopa, okay? And your doctor can make changes in 0.01 increments. So it can be extremely precise, far more precise than your oral medication, where you go from 25 100s to 50 150s and things like that, right? But the calculator, the doctor would enter how much you're taking. Are you taking Rytary? Okay, how much Rytary are you taking during the day? And there's this calculation, and it gives us a starting rate for what might be an appropriate rate for you, for example. Okay. I can't tell you exactly what that would be. That was something that your doctor would figure out using the calculator. I will say that our calculator, I like to say it is it's like a compass and not a GPS, okay? It gets us in the right direction, but it may not get us exactly to the doorstep. There might be some adjustments that need to be made, because maybe you're on a really high oral dose to try and make up for a really, really, really slow stomach. And then we change the delivery, we eliminate the gut, and maybe you don't need that high a dose, so maybe we back it down. Maybe you need a little bit more, okay? The calculator does err a little bit on the side of caution. We don't want to give you too much medicine and make you dyskinetic. So it varies. Does that answer your question? Yes, perfect. So how do I know if Vyalev could be right for me? Really basically two questions you need to ask yourself. Are you having motor fluctuations throughout the course of the day? Fluctuating between on and off time, and is it adding up to 2.5 hours or more per day? Collectively over the course of the day, not 2.5 hours all at once. If you wake up in the morning and your first hour of the day, you're off until you wait for your medicine to kick in, there's an hour right there. That's a conversation you have with your doctor, and then she or he documents that in your chart notes, okay? The second thing is are you taking more pills more often and still having off times, okay? If you can answer yes to those questions, you are a potential good patient for BioLife. Okay. I think, was there gonna be a question back here? No? Okay. This is what the device looks like, okay? This was designed and built specifically for people living with Parkinson's. We built it and designed it from the ground up. It was not something that was already existing and we repurposed it, okay? It's roughly about the size of 2 cell phones on top of each other. So like a little bit thicker, like double the thickness of a cell phone, a little bit bigger. It has 4 buttons. It is extremely user-friendly and intuitive. It either tells you what it needs or it asks you what you're doing, okay? And again, when your doctor prescribes this for you and once it gets approved, before you ever start, we send an AbbVie nurse ambassador to your home to train you on how to operate the pump, how to place the cannula, how to draw up your medication. We train you on all of that stuff. And then that nurse ambassador team is there as a supplement to your doctor, literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year, so that either your specific nurse ambassador or someone on the nurse ambassador team to answer any kind of pump related questions, okay? They do not replace your doctor, okay? Your doctor determines what's best for you in terms of the flow of medicine and all this, that. That nurse ambassador team is like your pit crew team, okay? Questions on that? Here are some different ways that you can carry it, and this kind of gets back to your question, sir. So we provide 3 different types of carrying devices. One is like a fitted belt, they call it, almost like a custom-made fanny pack. You can wear it around your waist. There's another case that looks almost like a cell phone case, an older leather cell phone case that you can clip on a belt. And then the third option is a fitted vest. It's kind of almost like spandex. It comes in different sizes. It zips up. It has 2 pockets in front as well as 2 pockets in the back. Okay. A lot of people will use that at night for sleeping because it keeps the pump real close to them. Okay. The nice thing about all of these devices is that they can be worn over or under the clothing. I'll show you guys. So see, the belt is over here. She's wearing the belt underneath her dress, okay? So that's what we provide. People get creative, okay? That's not what you have to use. One of my colleagues down in Texas, one of her patients, he still works. He works in the oil field in the Odessa, Midland area. It's Texas, so keep that in mind. He carries his pump in a concealed carry vest underneath his shirt. And he actually uses the back of the arm to place his cannula, which is completely fine. You can do that. It doesn't have to be the abdomen, okay? As long as the pump is safe and secure, we don't want it dropping, we don't want it falling out of a pocket, you're fine. Okay? Perfect. Our next, yes, sir. What holds that port or that needle in place? Great question. I'll back up here a couple slides. So the catheter, so you asked, so again, for the folks online, what's keeping that in place? So I'm going to do it here on the screen and then I'll do it up there for you guys as well. So this white part that's around the edge here for the folks who are online, and this for this folks here, see that white right there? That is like the strongest Band-Aid you've ever seen. It's adhesive. It's holding that in place. And the device itself that you use to attach it, to click it in there, 1, 2, 3, click, press the button. Within that little device, there's a metal or a sharp needle that helps penetrate the skin. And then that 9mm catheter stays in your skin. That's how it, and then that is literally just staying on your skin through adhesive. Yep. Yes.
So how long is the connection between that full patch and the device?
The tube is-
This man working,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. The tube is about 18 inches long. Yeah. The question online, sorry folks, was how long is the infusion tube that goes from the catheter or from the cannula to the syringe? That is about 18 inches long. Okay. So that's why a lot of people, for him, because he's working and he's doing a lot of labor, he didn't want something on his abdomen that could rub, right, and get irritated. So that's why he uses the back of his arm, but his pump is right here. So, you know, even if he stretches like that.
How long does the patch stay in place?
So the patch can stay in the label. The instructions say that you should change the catheter or the cannula at least every 3 days. Okay. It's a pretty strong adhesive. It'll stay in place for quite a while. However, remember what I talked earlier about the potential for skin issues? We recommend, and most doctors will tell you, most of the doctors that I work with will tell you to go ahead and change it, if not daily, at least every other day, especially in the beginning until your skin gets used to it, you know, because it's a foreign object that you're putting in your body. And your body can't tell the difference between something you want there and a splinter that doesn't want to be there, right? And so, and if you've ever had a splinter in your finger that you can't get out after a few days, it's coming out, right? So same thing here. So it's a good idea to try and maybe move it because it's got a continuous flow of medicine that's going into it. It's not like like an insulin pump can be sometimes where it's as needed. This just continuously delivers medicine. A very small amount, but still. There was a question back here. Oh, with DBS? So the question was for the online folks, let me get up front here, and correct me if I got it wrong. Is there any potential interactions you need to be concerned with if you already have DBS? Is that correct? No interactions, okay? If you're on DBS, you can use Vylev because if you're on DBS, you're probably still taking your oral levodopa. Can work the other way around as well. If you've been considering DBS and maybe you're like, I don't know if I want to have probes put in my brain, you can use this. And if you want to put DBS on down the road, you can do that as well, as long as it's still appropriate for you. Does that answer your question here? Okay. All right, so right there. All right. Next, we're going to hear from Janice and her husband, Farron. Janice was a part of our clinical trial. She's going to tell you about her experiences with Vylev. About 3 minutes long. They live in the Seattle, Washington area. Okay. So hopefully. Be easier if you guys could hear it. So hold on 1 second. All right, let's try this one more time. Is there a master volume in here? Because I have my computer volume up as far as it'll go.
Well, we hear the mics.
Sit. It's going right now. I can hear it very faintly somewhere. So, but not from here. I can hear it faintly somewhere, but not from here. It's playing. Here's what I'll do. Sorry, folks. Worst case scenario, I can get through this presentation and then I can pull it up on the website and see if we can't go through it that way. So I'll go through, I have a few more slides and then I'll try and figure out a way to play it for everybody and for the folks online before we go. If that's okay? That way you guys can go on with your meeting and we'll try and fix it. All right. It's a doozy. Now I've built up all this anticipation, haven't I, right? Okay. So. Up here. Nobody's asked this question yet, so I'll go ahead and throw it out there because I know someone's thinking it. Does insurance pay for it? Yep, it sure does. Medicare, Medicare Advantage. If you are still working or your spouse is working and you have commercial insurance, if your insurance doesn't cover it, AbbVie will pay for it for up to 2 years or until your insurance plan covers it, whichever happens first. Okay. I have not had anybody on Medicare or commercial get denied. I have had some people go through faster than others and some people get approved slower than others. Okay. That's outside of our control. We do everything we can to work with your medical provider's office and your individual insurance plan to try and get it as approved as quickly as possible. If you have traditional red, white, and blue card Medicare with a supplemental, the fastest I've seen on that was a 2-week turnaround. Okay. If it's an Advantage plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, that might take a little bit more, like 4, 5, 6 weeks. Okay. And kind of maybe the longer end. Okay. I've seen it faster. I've seen it in some extreme cases go slower. Okay. But generally speaking, what happens is if your doctor prescribes this, if you want it, your family wants it, your doctor agrees, instead of a regular prescription that goes to Hy-Vee or whatever, this is a special form that goes to a specialty pharmacy, it's called. Okay. So it's not going down to Walgreens on the corner. There's a form, you sign it in one spot, your doctor signs it in one spot, and then they fill in a bunch of information and they send it in. And it starts to get processed. Once it gets approved, you get a phone call from the specialty pharmacy, might be called a place like a Credo, it might be one name, and they say, congratulations, you've been approved. We would like to ship this to you now. And you get a big box shipped to your home that has your pump and all of your supplies for every day, and your vials of medication. And on there's a label on it. It's 2 boxes actually. And one of the labels, the boxes says, open up and put me in the refrigerator. Your vials of medicine need to stay refrigerated initially. Once you start your month of therapy, those vials of medication can stay on your countertop, in a cabinet, whatever the case may be, for a month. They're all good, but initially they stay refrigerated. Okay. Your other big box has all your supplies on it. There's a big label on there that says, do not open until you're sitting down with your nurse ambassador. And I bet you everybody in this room is going to open that box, and that's okay because everybody does. And then everybody gets freaked out because they see all these different parts and pieces in there. And then the nurse ambassador says, oh, you shouldn't have opened that. And then they tell you what everything is. And you're like, oh, okay, that's a lot easier. Okay. So that's what typically happens. And then the very first time you start on therapy, you do it in your doctor's office. Okay. And if you go to the med center in Omaha, you're going to work with one of the nurses and everything is going to go great. If you maybe work with one of the providers here in Lincoln because they're not as experienced with it, you're going to be in there with the doctor, maybe the nurse, and probably me or one of my colleagues. We're there. I always tell people I'm the pump guy. I'm here for medical or for technical support and moral support, not here for medical support. Okay. But you will do that for the very first time in your doctor's office because we want to make sure that you've gone through the steps correctly and that we want to see you respond to the medicine. And after that, your doctor will ask you to come in and follow up as what's appropriate for you. And that's your new daily routine. No more filling up your pill container, at least no more filling up your pill container with carbidopa levodopa. And instead, you have to replace it with get your pump going in the morning and off you go.
So
Yes. Oh, a couple quick. You and then you. Go ahead, Joyce.
the timeline from getting the box that you're not supposed to open
Yeah.
to meeting with the nurse is just depending on the doctor's schedule.
Yes, yeah. So basically what will happen is, so the question online was the day from the time you first get your shipment from the specialty pharmacy to when you would meet with the AbbVie nurse and go in and see your doctor. It's just absolutely depending on how soon your doctor can schedule you to come in based on your availability, based on their availability. What we do is we send the nurse ambassador to you, ideally the day or the business day before your appointment. Okay, so if your appointment is on Wednesday, ideally that nurse is going to go to your home on Tuesday. Okay. Yes.
I think part of the concern is just how to like expedite that, so if primary is not familiar with it and
Mhm.
you're doing MTX usually once a year, how can they make that time period faster?
So the
That's
question,
sort of affecting what you're wondering about.
yep, so the question online, or for the online folks, the question was, how can that get expedited? Because if the primary care doctor is not familiar with this, or if you go to the med center, but your appointment there is once a year. So when the med center prescribes this, because they've done it a lot, they know what they're doing. So they don't do it as part of your regular schedule follow-up. They're like, once it gets approved, they have their system down like a well-oiled machine, okay? So I would say on average, they're probably starting 3 to 4 patients per month, like first time starts out of the gate in their office. So they bring them in and they make it work for you, because the way they do it, they're a little bit different. Their nurse managers are so heavily involved in patient care that if you, for example, see Dr. Woodward, you don't have to do it only on Dr. Woodward's schedule. You can do it on his nurse manager's schedule. Her name is Erin, and she's wonderful, and she's incredibly well trained, and she knows exactly what she's doing. And I've worked with all of them up there. So that's a little bit different. If it's a primary care doctor, like while you're being trained, they're being trained by me. Okay, so we'll get them up to speed. Okay, and we'll make sure it works. And so I don't know how far away people came, but like Dr. Doss out in Kearney, she's getting ready to have her first start here in about a week or two, I think, if I remember correctly. So we're getting them up to speed. Yeah. So don't let that stop you. Your doctors will find, the doctors that say there's no room in my schedule suddenly find places in their schedule to fit you in there. Okay. Yes, sir.
How long has this been available?
So in the United States, it's been available for a little over a year. It was October of 24. The first place that was available was Japan, and that was 3 years ahead of the United States, again, where we got approved there. Europe sometimes move, and outside the United States, they move a little bit quicker sometimes. So it was Japan, and then Germany, UK, Canada, other countries in Europe, and then the United States in October of 2024. So last count since 2022, roughly about 20,000 patients globally have started on therapy with Vitalyft. So, yes, sir.
That needle be put virtually anywhere on the body.
So the question online, folks, was, can that needle or the catheter, the cannula, be put virtually anywhere in the body? Abdomen, your upper thigh area, the back of your arm or your shoulder, or what we call the flank, or kind of like your kidney area on your back. Those are the areas of where it's appropriate and safe to put it, okay? I probably wouldn't put one on your calf. You could be really cool and put one on your neck if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. It might hurt a little bit, but yeah. But yeah, the abdomen, the thigh, the shoulder, back of the arm, and then the flank area. Yes. Yes, is the patch waterproof? Yes, it is. So you treat the device kind of like your phone. I say that cautiously because some people beat the crap out of their phones. So I mean that meaning don't get the device wet, the actual pump itself. The cap, so you'll disconnect from the pump, you'll stop the pump, disconnect the tubing from your cannula to go ahead and take a bath, shower, swim, whatever the case may be, and then you reconnect. But yes, that thing is perfectly waterproof.
I'm sorry, is there a time frame on having it disconnected?
Perfect. Is there a time frame for having it disconnected? Perfect question. If you are disconnected from the pump for 3 hours or more, you're going to reconnect and you're going to give yourself what's called a loading dose, which is going to be programmed into the pump. Okay. And it's just a big bolus of medicine to help you get up to speed quicker. Okay. There's only 2 instances you would ever use that loading dose. One, the very first time you turn the pump on, if you're off, if you haven't taken your medicine for a while, which your doctor may tell you to do. And then 2, if you've been disconnected for 3 hours or more for whatever reason. Okay. If it's less than 3 hours, and I don't want to get into all like specifics, but yeah. There was one more question I think I saw. No? Okay. All right. So what do you do? What if I'm interested? Okay. Talk to your doctor. Talk with your care partner, your spouse, your family. Go talk to your doctor. I'm gonna leave some information here in your library, so you can grab one of these. It's not super long, it's just the basic information. On here is a website or a QR code that you can scan or go to the website. You can watch this whole program again. You can also go to vialev.com to find Janice's video to watch her. Well, if I can't get it up and running while we're sitting here, but I'm going to try to. But you go talk to your doctor and see and have conversations and see if it's right for you. Okay. Uh-oh, Joyce has a question.
Yeah, I'm back on. Do most doctors tell you to quit taking your pills right before you get this, or you just?
It varies a little bit. So you will, the question was, sorry, online folks. So the question was, will most doctors tell you to stop taking your pills? Okay. You're talking about like the very first time you turn the pump on.
Yeah.
You can do it one of two ways. I've seen it both ways. Okay. I've seen it where doctors will tell you, like if your appointment is at 9 a.m., take your last dose at night before you go to bed or whatever that is. When you get up in the morning, don't take anything. We know it might be rough depending on how you are. Come in, we'll get you started. Okay. And then you're good. Other people might say, well, we don't want you completely rough, so you take your 6 a.m. dose, but don't take your 10 a.m. dose, right? For example, right? And it varies. That's completely up to your doctor's discretion. We do not tell them what to do. Your doctor will make that determination of what's best for you. Yes.
I already know the answer to this question, but I'm hopeful for the future. So in our last month, we talked a little bit about just how hospital stays are very difficult.
Yep.
Because the person in general, facility in general that's in charge of delivering your medication, doesn't always understand our time, medication schedules, and there's deviations that don't work for preferences. So in an ideal world, this would be so wonderful if you could just have this during your hospital stay. You never miss your dose, but I understand you have to have that script ahead of time. It takes about a month. Even if you have it, does the hospital know how to put it on? Is that something in the future you think will give?
Yeah, so great question. So for the online folks, if you weren't able to hear that, I'm going to summarize. And if I over summarize and if I get it wrong, please tell me, Carla. So the question was, what happens if you go to the hospital? Can you take your pump with you? And if you do the people at the hospital know how to even do the pump, whatever the case may be? Okay. There's not a definitive across the board answer because I've heard and seen it happening a couple different ways. All right. I've heard some people go into the hospital and during that time they come off their pump, they go back to their oral medication, which is a nice little sidebar. Your doctor will tell you to keep a supply of oral medication with you just in case. I dropped the pump I was on the ladder and I was taking down the Christmas lights because I feel so amazing and my pump fell and I dropped it and it shattered. So we'll overnight you a new pump or get it to you as quickly as possible, but you're going to need some meds, right? So I've seen some people or heard of some people going to the hospital and they switch over to the oral therapy. I've had calls. I got a phone call from the Columbus Hospital one time, like, hey, can you help us understand how to work this pump? Because somebody came in, they're on this pump and we want to keep them on it. So I did some training, but I don't have a definitive, like one size fits all answer. It kind of varies a little bit. Anything else, folks? I've taken up a little bit more of your time. Great questions. Thank you very much. I know you guys have, oh, yes, dear.
You said the pump can talk to us.
A little bit.
Does that mean we can hear it or we have to read it?
Yeah, you read it. Yeah, you read it. It beeps at you very loudly. And it either tells you it needs something. So for example, when it's coming to the end of your 24-hour period, because at 24 hours, the pump is going to stop regardless of how much medication is still left in the syringe. Okay. The reason we do that is because once that medication leaves the vial and is exposed to oxygen, it's technically only good for 24 hours. Okay. So even if you have medication left in your syringe at 24 hours, it is stopping. At 2 hours left, it gives you a beep. At 1 hour, for example, at 1 hour left, it gives you a louder beep. And then it's every 15 minutes after that. So it beeps. When I say it also tells you what it needs, for example, if you go to stop the pump to take your shower, you'll press menu, stop pump. And then it will on the screen ask you, are you sure you want to stop the pump? and it's to prevent from accidentally stopping the pump when you don't mean to, for example, right? I don't know if anybody in here, their doctor tells them, like, if you have a sudden off time, take half a tab, right? Or take a tab of immediate release, or take out that Inbrija, that inhaler, okay? The pump is designed, it has an extra dose that you can use in a similar fashion, okay? Oh, I'm suddenly having an off time. I better hit my extra dose, okay? You press that extra dose button, it will ask you, are you sure? It's on the screen. It doesn't say the words, but yes. So when I say it, ask you what you're doing. That was maybe a little disingenuous, but it does, but not with the words. So I apologize if I gave that impression. That's a great question, though.
I was just thinking about people who have auditory problems or seeing problems. How does it?
I haven't encountered that issue yet. Not to say that it hasn't happened somewhere else or it hasn't happened without my knowledge, but and honestly, not every therapy is right for every person. If that is a potential issue, maybe the doctor might say, this maybe isn't right for you because if you can't hear very well, see very well, you can't read what the pump is, that's not my place to say.
What's the warranty on
this? So there's no warranty. The question was, what's the warranty on this? There's no warranty per se. Like if it goes faulty, so this goes back to almost like the insurance part of it through Medicare. It's actually billed through your Medicare Part B, like boy, not your Part D. Okay, so A, it doesn't impact your donut hole, but Part B is for medical durable goods. Okay, so if something goes wrong or if it's faulty, you just get it replaced. There's no warranty per se. It's not that. Yeah. There was a question about. Oh, sorry. The question online was, what's the warranty on the device? Which there really isn't one. Was there a question back here?
the sample one that we just see?
I sure do.
Great.
And I'm going to leave it as part of your library as well. So, yeah, the box is getting heavier, I heard. So, I'm going to pass this around. This is a model pump, but it looks, feels, weighs just like the real thing. You can press on the buttons a little bit to kind of get a sense of what that feels like. And then on this side, there's a little tab. If you slide that tab down, or excuse me, up, you can see the chamber inside. I should be, sorry. You see the chamber inside where your syringe full of medication goes, okay? On the real device, at the very top here is a little black tab that slides down, the motor drives it down, and that's what drives the plunger to infuse the medication through the tube, okay? So I'll pass this around. Start with you. And the other thing I'll pass around then, I'll let you take a look at the tubing. You can, that's how long the tubing is. It goes from the syringe that connects to your cannula. And then here, just this white part, not the entire green thing, that is the skin patch. That's what goes on your skin. So this is meant to look like skin. And if you flip it over, you can feel the catheter. This is exactly what goes in there. It's flexible. It's a tiny little plastic thing. It's not metal at all. So I'll pass that around as well. There's a question was online. How do you, again, stick it in? There's a little, it's called the technical term is it's a cannula insertion device, okay? It's about 2.5, 3 inches long. It's got a big red button on it. You pull out a little safety clip. You remove an adhesive. You press it on your abdomen. You tell yourself 1, 2, 3, click. You hold it, and then you remove. And there it is. And I will tell you, because I've been in lots of patient starts, and I know that this will resonate absolutely. The females, no problem. The men, all babies. Yep. I had a gentleman one time, he did it, he was a little nervous, he clicked it, and then he got done, and he said, I've had mosquito bites worse than that. That's what he said, so, but yeah. I had another gentleman one time that was nervous, and his wife had looked at him, and she goes, oh, honey, I've had 2 C-sections, you'll be fine. So.
Pump battery operated.
It is, it comes with 2 rechargeable batteries and a charger. So they're lithium ion batteries. So a good standard of practice that your nurse would teach you is Every time you change a syringe, just swap out the batteries, put in a fresh battery, put the other one back on the charger. They'll go up to about 3 days on a single charge. But just best practice, so you're not, in case you do get stranded somewhere, you get stuck, or you forget to swap it, just swap it every day. Yes, sir.
I see references to phoscarbidopa, phoslevodopa.
Yes.
Are these chemically modified dopas?
Yes, yeah. So it's the question online. Well, they probably heard you. It says it's called, if you look at it, it's called phoscarbidopa, phoslevodopa. And that's because we had to shrink the molecule down small enough to be where it could be absorbed through the skin, but without you having to carry something like this around full of liquid. Okay. And real quick, it's a fascinating story, but there was a scientist for AbbVie, excuse me. His name was Phil. This was a passion project of his. Okay. Nobody believed that you could shrink levodopa down small enough to be absorbed subcutaneously without having a massive quantity of or volume of liquid. And he would work on it on his own, and he finally figured it out. And that's what started the whole process, was when this Phil, and he retired recently, but we had a meeting where Janice, who was in our video, that I didn't show you because I'm a big tease, and Phil met each other on the stage for the first time. So that was really cool. So, but yes, that's what it is. It just means FOS is a pro-drug. It just means that's how we were able to shrink the molecule down. Good question. That's all for me, folks. I'll mingle around with a little bit. I know you guys have, I want to let you guys get on with your meeting. I've taken up a lot more time than I anticipated. I apologize, but you guys had great questions. I'll let that pass around. I'll ask questions or answer questions, but I'll let you guys kind of go on from here. Does that sound good? All right, thank you.
You want me to stop sharing up here? Stop sharing and stuff. Stop sharing on my, okay.
Thank you, Brian. That was interesting. We appreciate you coming.
I'll let you guys go on. I'll see.
And we hope he gets his video going. Announcements. Recently, I've heard, and I don't know if anyone else has or not, but there's research being done regarding Parkinson's, where it begins. I always thought that it begins in the brain, but there's some research going on because it's thought that it could be starting in the kidney. So I would say keep your eyes and ears open for see if they make some progress on that. The other thing I wanted to mention was this book. I don't know if you have read it, but I think about it. I want to talk about Dr. Dorsey and Dr. Okun. But this is a great book. You maybe already read it. Did you think it was good? Yeah. Jim brought it in today. We've got this copy, and he's got a sign-up list if you take it, so we know where the book is, and then bring it back and someone else can read it. But I found it very interesting. And tonight, if I remember, there is a email, and it's from it's about paraquat and what's sort of happening with that. And there's an article in this email about microplastics from Dr. Okun. He talks about that and how that can be in our bodies and brains. And then also there's a way to go. I haven't listened to them yet, but there's some videos that you can listen to. Those two guys talk to people about this, what they have learned and what there is available. I thought that was very, very interesting, but of course I'm convinced about these pesticides and all that. So you might not want to agree with me, but I found that very interesting. Next month, we will meet again, it'll be March 22nd. And it's gonna be freezing of gate. And Molly Hope is a physical therapist, and she plans to be here with us. Are there any other announcements or gems that you guys would like to share? Gunter, we thank you for doing the Zoom, and Jim, we're adding to the library. We appreciate you bringing all that in, and Sally and Martha, thank you for the refreshments. And again, let's remember that we have brochures and we have business cards available to share around the community and doctor's office wherever you can, because there are a lot of people that not even know about our support group. And so we'd like to share that information. I think that's all I can think of. Anyone else?
I put one on, a schedule on every table, but I think I got everybody when they came in.
Okay, you just,
So it's the schedule for, it's the schedule for all of this year.
if it goes as planned. Okay, anything else? Now, is Brian still working on this first? Pardon me? Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was planning, but he did say we can see this video thing, if we go to the site on our home computers. So the next thing, we'll divide up into those with Parkinson's will stay in here, and the care partners will go in the kitchen. And you can stop by and get your treat. They're always good. Hope to see you all next month.